My name is Jim Watson. I'm Mayor of Ottawa.
Perfect. And can you explain the process of acquiring the outdoor game?
Well, I met with Gary Bettman and Bill Daly from the NHL a couple of years ago because we knew that we wanted to host an outdoor game in Ottawa because 2017 represented the 100th anniversary of the very first NHL game in history, which took place in 1917 in December right here in Ottawa between the Ottawa and the Canadiens. So we approached the NHL, we had a couple of meetings, and we've been working at it ever since.
And so how long did all the meetings and the whole process take?
Oh, it goes back at least 2 years and involved meetings with the senators, with the NHL, with the federal government, obviously, because the initial choice was to have the game on the Hill, Parliament Hill, which would have been a great backdrop. Mm-hmm. But for a number of legitimate reasons, we just couldn't secure the Hill, cost being one of them, because it was going to cost $6-7 million to put out temporary stands and infrastructure and dressing rooms there. Mm-hmm. Plus, you can't charge to go on the Hill, so that was a problem. You can't advertise, and you can't sell alcohol on the Hill. So those were sort of three strikes against it, and it's no criticism of the federal government. I think we have an equally good choice at Lansdowne Park, which we settled on, and it was announced a couple of weeks ago during the Stanley Cup 125th anniversary celebrations.
Mm-hmm. And so was this sort of a personal goal of yours to get a game outdoor in Ottawa?
It was. We'd set a number of goals when we set up our 2017 task force. We wanted Ottawa to be the go-to destination for Canadians and people around the world if they're coming to Canada or they were traveling within Canada to come to Ottawa. And we had what we called our Triple Crown. We wanted the Juno Awards, the Grey Cup, and the NHL Outdoor Game. And we've been fortunate and successful in capturing all three. We just obviously had a very successful Juno week. The Grey Cup is full steam ahead with preparations for that, and now with the NHL giving us the nod, we can start working on the outdoor game.
And would you consider the game itself to be kind of the culmination of like all the Canada 150 events and celebrations over the past year? Is this kind of like the big shebang to finish the whole thing?
It really is, because obviously the year ends in December, mm-hmm. and there are no significant events after this particular game, so this would really be the closing out of the year, and it's an amazing opportunity to close it out with 40,000 people or so at TD Place, and lots of people watching it at different big screen venues around the city. And we want it to be not just one game on one day on December 16th. We want really it to be a week-long celebration of our love of hockey. So ideally when we have the temporary rink set up at TD Place, we'd like to see other games, maybe NHL alumni, MPs versus Senators, maybe the Hull Olympic versus the 67s, Ottawa U versus Carleton, those kinds of things, so that we have the ice, and if we can get the okay from the NHL, then I think we should use it to our advantage and get lots of people coming and watching outdoor games at Lansdowne. Yeah,
so besides those games you just mentioned, are there other events that the city's been planning around the game? Maybe in the park, like during the week up to it or the week after?
Yeah, we'll work with the NHL. They'll tend to take the lead. I'd like to see some kind of a fan expo, obviously see the Stanley Cup back in town, use the Aberdeen Pavilion where the Senators won one of their Stanley Cups back in the 1920s. Mm-hmm. So Lansdowne's a perfect venue because you've got all the restaurants, the horticulture building, the Aberdeen, the great lawn. There's already a skating rink there as well. So there's a lot of space and place to do things, and I think it would be a great community hub. But we also want to make sure other parts of the city benefit, whether it's the Byward Market or Elgin Street or Bank Street, to ensure that people know it's not just at Lansdowne, it's the whole city celebrating hockey.
Mm-hmm. That's kind of a perfect segue. So what do you hope, or does the city expect/hope to see come from the game in terms of tourism, publicity for the city, and maybe just like in terms just an identity towards the city?
I think a couple of things. One, obviously there's going to be a great economic benefit at a time when retail is doing well because people are shopping for Christmas and so on, but there's not a lot of conventions, so this will help fill hotel rooms and restaurants, and we see the potential of tens of millions of dollars in economic spin-off, jobs created in the lead up and during the game, and also international media exposure that we just couldn't afford to buy from an advertising point of view for Ottawa as a tourism destination as well.